I'd like to call the East China Township Board meeting for April 19th, 2024 to order, please. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Westrup?
Here.
Clerk Smith here. Treasurer Hart?
Here.
Trustee Babel? Here. Trustee Richley?
Here.
Trustee Blackstock and absent?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, agenda. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended. We're adding new business 8 to a change order and new consent 7 for training request.
So moved.
Mr. Richley.
Support.
Support by Ms. Babel. Is there any comments, questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Minutes, same thing.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Mr. Richley. Is there support?
Support.
Ms. Babel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Presentations, guest speakers. We have the audit for, we'll do a business item for that, okay? Public comment. Anybody? All right, consent agenda. C1's financial reports. C2's Park Commission meeting minutes from June 2024. C3 is the St. Clair Fire Authority run report for July of 2024. 4 is the Historical Commission meeting minutes, July 2024. C5, Cemetery Advisory Committee meeting minutes, August 2024. C6, Planning Commission reappointments. And C7 is the training request, the sewer plant operator, supervisor. Questions or comments? Entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda items as presented.
So support.
Support.
Ms. Hart. Comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Disbursements, Ms. Hart.
Disbursements, we have payroll amount of $42,135.91. Accounts payable, $159,213.36. EFTs, $16,984.52. E-checks, $302.30. Tax disbursements, $275,595.53. And invoices paid, $124,572.11, giving the grand total of $618,803, and that should be 73 cents, not 75 cents.
Did you catch that, Mr. Richley?
Yep. It's in my notes.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills in that amount.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrup?
Yes. Thank you. Unfinished business, the Parks Ordinance, second reading and adoption. Ms. Smith.
Our second reading of ordinance 329, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances for parks. It will be detailed in the minutes as it was in the previous minutes. If anyone would like to read or inspect the ordinance, it's available at the Township counter during regular business hours. And I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 329.
As amended. Been moved and supported. Comments or questions? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel? Yes. Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrup?
Yes. Thank you. New business, audit presentation, yo and yo. You're on now.
Yes, sir.
Michael.
Yes, sir. Call me Mike, please.
All right.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Mike Rolko, principal with Yo and Yo CPAs. We have finished the audit of the township. This is our first year doing the audit. It's been done since the end of June and submitted. Would have loved to be here during July to present, but I was on a backpacking trip in Washington, so thank you for working with me on that.
State of Washington?
State of Washington. Yes.
Where were you at?
I backpacked around Mount Rainier on Wonderland Trail, about 100 miles. So it was
My son's into that big time,
Yeah.
like crazy, but, oh, cool.
2 weeks.
Good, you enjoyed it, I take it then, right?
Yes, sir.
Good.
So I have a brief presentation. We get a really high level on the numbers because remember, these numbers are as of December 31, 2023, and for the year ended. So I'm not going to touch too much on the numbers, more just on what our role is, what management's role is, and what our opinion is. So flipping through, we'll start with the audit opinion. Can only be issued by licensed CPA firms, and it's the highest level of assurance you can get on your financial statements. And what does that mean? It means that an outside party can rely on these numbers to be materially correct. Material being a key word there, because think of all of the hundreds and thousands of transactions that happen throughout the course of a year. We can't possibly look at every single one of them. So on a test basis, we evaluate things and we look at the big stuff and make sure that that is recorded correctly. So management's responsibility is to have in place a set of internal controls in order to make sure those balances are materially correct and that fraud and error is identified, detected, or prevented. Our responsibilities are to assess those internal controls, perform a risk assessment, and then audit those balances and to provide an opinion on the financial statements. In the case of the township, our opinion is called an unmodified opinion, which I like to equate to an A+ on a report card. So everybody can understand that, but sometimes saying unmodified opinion isn't as easily understood. So A+ is the grade, if you will. One caveat with that is we did not audit the St. Clair River Sewer and Water Authority. We relied on the audit of UHY. So those numbers are based on their audit. On the next page, you'll see just a quick pie chart about what the general fund's revenues and other financing sources look like, and probably no surprise to anybody here, property taxes makes up the bulk of that. Now, one thing, you may look at that number and think it's rather large compared to prior years, and you'll see that in the next slide coming up, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But first, let's talk about some of the other big revenue streams, and really there's only one other large revenue stream, and that would be the state grants of $419,000, which is the state shared revenue, essentially the sales tax passed through from the state. These property taxes here, of those taxes, that is the operating levy of the township, but the board has designated approximately $1.3 million, which later gets transferred out to other funds. So if we flip to the next slide, that's what you'll see here. Again, Yo and Yo did not audit 2019 through 2022. And in 2023, the revenue line here, you see a huge increase, but that's because those operating levies were initially put into the general fund this year and then transferred out. On the following page, brief snapshot of the expenses. And again, you'll see this large orange pie chart chunk of nearly $1.3 million, and that is the amount of taxes that were transferred to other funds based on the board's decisions. Probably no surprise then, the other three biggest slices are general government, which is things such as the board, supervisor, treasurer, clerk, everything it takes to really run the township. Public safety for your police and fire, and then public works, which is mostly made up of trash collections and cemetery costs.
And our DPW, or is that in general government?
That's a great, like building and grounds?
No, like our DPW department that fixes the water main leaks and stuff like
That
that.
wouldn't be included in this. That would be in the water and sewer funds.
Oh, okay.
Yep. The next page, again, a 5-year trend of the expenditures and other financing uses. Again, you see a very large increase year over year because of the way these property taxes were accounted for this year. So the general fund took in the revenue and then passed it along per your decisions. So now talking about those proprietary funds, the water and sewer funds on the next slide, just a quick snapshot of the statement of net position and a couple of things I'd like to highlight here. So at the bottom there, the bottom line for the sewer fund is $5.6 million in net position, and the water fund $5.1 million. Most of that is made up of capital assets, so the infrastructure that it takes to run those systems. And then the bulk of the liabilities represent long-term debt, so bonds payable. The next two slides are going to give you a quick pictographic view of what your pension and OPEB funding status is. So the first slide here in the blue, that is your set aside for its restricted investments for a pension plan. So this money is held with MERS. And then your expected liability as developed by the actuary. So the investments are nearly $6 million, and the liability, again, a lot of assumptions go into that, so that number is really truly a big guess, but $10 million. So you see here at the top, 59.64% funded. The state's goal for all the communities as of the past few years has been 60% funded. So you're kind of right there on the cusp of what they're looking at.
We were over last year, like 64% or something like that, but the interest or the investment rates have been down.
Every year it can
market,
flip back and forth wildly.
So now we're back under again. We've been making an investment on the side, as you well know.
Yeah.
And then the next slide is the other post-employment benefits plan, so the retiree health care funding. And in this case, the plan is funded more than the expected liability. Now again, that blue bar could drop down if the market dips, or it could shoot up if the market goes up, but there's about a $44,000 net OPEB asset in this case, which is very well funded, 105% funded. And in the case of OPEB, many plans throughout the state are not funded at all, so the target goal is 40%. I have some clients who literally have 300 million plus with no funding whatsoever.
So we can get some back, some of that money.
Well, eventually when the plan runs
When
out,
they get the money, they don't give it back.
We have some internal control matters to report, namely that there was a budgetary overage, but it was due completely to that accounting for the property taxes, shifting it all coming into the general fund and then being transferred out to the other funds. So that, because it was such a large number, was over about $1.3 million from those transfers. So we do have a finding for that, but I wouldn't get hung up on that because it's already been corrected, and I don't anticipate seeing that again. No significant deficiencies. And then the last slide here, with the financial statements, we always provide what we call the governance letter, and that's required communications to you folks on the board. I believe you should have received the financials and that letter at a different time. However, I encourage you to read that letter in its entirety, but I'm going to summarize some of the key things right now. So in the center here, you'll see GASB 96. That is a new accounting standard that had to be evaluated for implementation this year. It was quite a large one that many governments struggled with. That is related to software subscription liabilities. So whenever you enter into a contract for a right to use software services, if that's a subscription beyond 1 year, you now are required to record an intangible right to use asset, it's called, and a liability. So it is kind of, I don't want to say funny money, but in a way it is. It's just an accounting function. However, there were no agreements that met the scope of the standard, so nothing was recorded, but it was evaluated. Significant estimates used in the creation of the financial statements, and before I dig into those a little bit, I want to start with, sometimes people become afraid when they hear that word, like, oh my God, our numbers aren't real numbers, they're estimates. But in reality, it is impossible to create a set of financial statements without estimates. So that is completely normal, and every single set of financial statements has estimates. So the most significant estimates in the township's financial statements are first, what are the useful lives of the capital assets? So when you purchase a new asset, how long are you going to depreciate it for? If you choose 10 years versus 50 years, that impacts how much expense you're taking every single year as you depreciate it. The next one would be leases receivable. This would be in relation to the cell tower contracts that you have, and you're receiving those rents, I believe, over approximately 30 years or so. The net pension liability and the net OPEB liability are the next two they probably are the most significant estimates. That takes mortality rates, investment rate of return assumptions, demographical data such as gender, factors all of that in and creates an estimate on how much you may have to pay out to retirees for benefits they earned during their service. And that goes back to the funding slides we discussed. A couple of areas that we identified as significant risks and performed some additional procedures on were revenue recognition. So there's a presumptive fraud risk for revenue recognition, and so we looked at certain things related to that. And the potential for management to override controls, meaning if the township has a certain control in place, is it possible for somebody to just skip that control altogether? A couple other things from an accounting standpoint that you should be aware of that I'm sure your accountants will deal with more, but good to know. There's 3 new upcoming accounting standards. The first one is GASB Statement 101. It's a new model on how to account for compensated absences, so paid time off and sick time. 102 is risk disclosure, so certain risk disclosures need to be disclosed if there are things that may be happening in the community. For example, you may have to disclose if a very large taxpayer goes out of business, and that could impact your tax base significantly. And then the last one is GASB Statement 103, which is a new financial reporting model. It changes some of the budgetary presentation schedules as well as the management's discussion and analysis. So just be aware of those. Those will be coming out over the next several years.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I bet. Me either. Lastly, I'd like to thank all of you for selecting Yo&Yo to perform your audit. Everybody here was great to work with, so I really appreciate that. It's always good to work with people who care, who are friendly and professional. I'd like to open it to any questions.
Any questions?
I just have one. I forgot my audit thing. I had like 5, but I remembered one while you were speaking. The one that, about the Water and Sewer Authority, how they have a separate auditor. In your opinion, do you think that it would be easier if we did all the same, or is it better to have separate auditors? Or
I will say, from my perspective, it would be easier. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I have a lot of audits that have multiple auditors. They're called group audits. I have some where there's 3 or 4 other audits for a county's financial statements, for example. So a lot of other entities that get rolled into their statements. But if it is one auditor, it usually is a little more efficient, yes.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's all I got.
Anybody else? I want to thank you, Mike. I know that our staff
Thank
was
you.
very pleased with working with your people. It just seemed less painless, for sure. So,
We try to make it.
and I know that we had a lot of issues at the beginning to deal with that were
There's
unforeseen,
things that I can fix, right.
but you guys handled it very well. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
All right.
Thank
very
you.
Have a good night.
much. You guys have a great night also.
Thank you.
Number business 2, security camera project. All right. This has been tossed around by all of our department supervisors and managers about, now that we have the new broadband fiber installed everywhere, about adding some cameras. We did put some into the park already as part of that. I think our township manager wants to do a grant for some of this. See what she's got here, because this was something that was unknown as of this afternoon. Yeah, we weren't sure that we could do the grant because we applied for one and it was for some mulch at the park and it did not get replied to by the commission, and therefore we lost it. And there sometimes is an issue for that about getting more, but I think she clarified today that, yeah, we probably would qualify for some of this. It's not a lot of money, but 2281, but basically, let's put this on here. This is a ARPA fund request to finish the project for security cameras everywhere. And this would be for approve the security camera project tied into the new broadband system. It's $27,025 allocated from ARPA, and it could be reduced by this grant amount if we get it. But we're just gonna go for the whole amount for right now. So, any comments or questions on this?
Is this in addition to the, we've already installed at the hall? Didn't we just put cameras here?
This,
Yeah.
that's that one that
System?
doesn't report to anything or whatever, that's going into the
recording it?
internal, right?
That was just the
internal.
one that was broke.
Yeah,
and
that, yeah,
got
that,
replaced.
that goes internal so the girls can see somebody coming in the doors. This is an enhanced camera package that ties right into everything.
Would that be replacing or?
Probably not, because that's
Okay.
what the girls use just to see who's here,
Yeah.
mainly.
Yeah.
That's what they want. See who's come through the door, you know, for that. But last Saturday night, again, 2:30 in the morning, I had to come here. Got called by Guardian again, you know,
Yeah.
motion in the lobby, motion entry front door, it's constant. I shouldn't be answering the phone because I know you're second in line, but anyway.
Been there, done that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so,
Vern.
you know, and I.
It wasn't a bag again, was it?
They said, well, we'll send the
Yeah.
police there and everything else, and then, I don't, well, I think it was your papers the one time that were rattling on the door that you had to post. I think I
Oh,
told you that, so I
geez.
taped them better and they get it again, but. I don't know what it is, but yeah, that one seems to do it the
Very
most. And it might be
sensitive.
even shadows. I don't know, maybe headlights would do it, coming,
Yeah.
turning around in here.
Yeah.
That's true.
But it'll be something that we can rely on a little better, because I
Yeah,
don't mind coming down here, it's no big deal, but.
yeah.
Anyway, but the water treatment plant and the wastewater treatment plant, it's more than that Homeland Security thing about protection of the facilities, the water supply and everything else, and we want to conform to that too, because there's a lot going on about that right now. Again, the park is minimal, we've already added a bunch of them as part of that package over there, we did pay for that under ARPA too, because that was part of the recent whole broadband thing.
Do we know how many more, how much more ARPA funds we have left to allocate?
I asked that it be added onto here, and I don't see it.
I do have a
I
question.
think it's for sure more than that, but
It is,
yeah.
and, yeah, there
And
was
do we
something else
need
we
to
were gonna
get
use
more
ARPA
than
funds
just
for. I think it's like
one quote?
70,000 or something like that.
Has there been any involvement with emergency management for this process? The reason why I asked that is at our last clerk's meeting, a few months back, emergency management was there, and they're planning to come out to each location, municipal, and do a site evaluation, and talked about security cameras, there may be grant money for that. And
I can't answer that, Sandy. I don't know if they were, I don't know if that was looked at for that or not. This is something the supervisors and the township manager came up with, but definitely we could float it by them before we go ahead and pull the trigger on it.
I would like to include, at least for here, they might have some really valuable information, even the water and sewer plants, and,
Yeah. I
but
don't
they're
know the-
planning on coming out, they just haven't contacted us yet to do
Right.
the evaluation and their recommendations.
Okay, we can ask that before we go ahead and, you know, pull a trigger on it. But then
Okay,
we can make sure
I
it
think that
complies
would
with
be
that.
good, just to get their input.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a question also. Is
Yes.
it going to be able to record and do
Oh,
all
yeah.
that and enhance everything else that's
Mhm.
already set
Yeah,
up?
that'll be going to a drive that can be
Okay,
accessed,
okay.
but it'll save it. I do know, I asked the quality of the cameras, and they're kind of up to par. They give, you know how you can get cameras that are all over the board on it. It's no good if you got a picture of somebody that's just a haze.
Too
It doesn't do
grainy,
any
yeah.
good, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
you gotta be able to make out the features and details.
Right,
Wanna
otherwise
read
they're
license
useless.
plate, Whatever,
Yeah.
so.
And they're doing this countywide, like this kind of a project, or no?
No, I think this is something that we've asked them to look at,
I see.
you know, that came from the, because they were talking about more camera systems, and we talked about just integrating it with our broadband, because the park's real happy with what the cameras they do have. So it's just to build on that, really. So, I mean, we'll definitely, if you guys are okay with it, we'll appropriate the money, but we'll definitely, let's check into more details, what you had, you know, and the rest of it too. I didn't have time to really review it a lot, so. I just knew that what they were talking about doing. But we definitely
And with
wanna
the
do that.
dollar amount, do we need more than just this one bid?
No, I don't think so. I know we asked a few other people, like, it wasn't something they would even, because it won't tie into the system we have now, really, coordinating. This is labor and cameras too.
Right.
The good thing about that.
And it's through the county.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Kind of like the road commission, you know, they do the work, but they're not really making a profit. It's just to
Right.
cover their costs. If we
Right.
ever need culverts installed, then my best avenue is always with the road commission. But, yeah, other questions? If not, entertain a motion to approve to not exceed $27,025 for the project.
And this is something, you're gonna check on all that stuff.
We're gonna answer a
Sandy was
whole lot of
talking
stuff, yeah, because
Before it's
they may have already done
finalized.
that, I really don't know, Sandy, but definitely we'll ask them.
Okay.
Because you're here all the time too with me. We'll definitely check that out for sure. And if you have any other types of things we want to talk about before this happens.
I mean, is this something that needs to be immediate, or should we table it till the next meeting when we have more information?
I think it'd be okay to go ahead, because I know they've all done their homework, but I will definitely get more specifics for you, because that's an important one, emergency, managers, but I know Reese has already done this in combination with Homeland Security, and stuff, so they've done this for other places already, so. But it's strictly up to you.
When is the, if you said it, I'm sorry, the power plan risk grant, when is that, the timeline for that?
I don't really, it's 90 days maybe, Ellen, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I know it's not much. If it does,
Yeah.
if they do give it, it's gonna help a little bit, and that would come off that amount.
Like
But
that's when we're gonna apply?
she's gonna apply immediately.
Okay.
And it's one that's reimbursable, so if we go ahead and do this, we get the money
Okay.
back. That's what I was asking about too, so.
Can we maybe if we approve it tonight, and then if we don't get the grant, bring it back to the board maybe, or no? I don't know.
What do you mean?
I understand like the ARPA funds, that's kind of like the fallback, but if it's not approved.
Well, the
by
27,000's if we don't get the grant.
Yeah, right.
Well, we can make it contingent upon receiving the grant.
And then come back, revisit.
Well, that's where I said, let's just do it regardless. If we don't get the $2,200 of the grant, we still should do it. But it,
Oh, it's only $2,200.
Right.
But,
I mean, it's fine, let's try to get that money,
Yeah.
reimburse the ARPA fund if we do. But if we don't, that's something I wanted to get moving so we can have it done by the end of the year.
but I don't know if the emergency has access to grant money. That is what they told us. So, I mean, they may be able to assist with some of the financial cost of doing this
Okay?
before we jump
Well,
off.
if you want to wait, we can wait too, whatever you want to do.
I would like
I'd
to
feel
kind of
better
have
to
time to
wait.
contact them and
Yeah.
see, what their turnaround time is and what, if we can count on any money realistically or not, or, I mean, it
You
might
can check
help.
with them, right?
I
on
will,
that? All right.
I
yep.
mean, and Cindy's not here to give
we
any
double-
background information on this, so.
Can
Well-
we double up the grant, or is that? I don't know if
Some of them
it's-
let you, some of them don't, but this one probably would not
I
be a
would
problem.
imagine.
But we'll find that out.
Right,
Okay.
I would imagine so.
So do I have a motion to postpone to the next meeting?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll get the answers and bring it back.
Okay.
3, power plant risk reduction grant. This is the motion to approve, to apply for the grant, for the one we just talked about.
I'll make a motion to adopt the attached resolution to include with the power plan risk grant, risk reduction grant application.
Been moved, is there support?
Support.
Okay, clerk, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. You can get that in. Parks and Recreation Village. This is like the same thing we do every year, you guys, you remember that? It distributes to us, we just accept, we gotta do the distribution for it, the sign for it. It's, the amount this year is $21,321, which is more than last year. It's like 18,000 something last year. Is there a motion to approve the millage?
So moved.
For support?
Support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? I don't think we'll turn down money, right? New business 5, budget amendments. There's some budget amendments as attached. It's basically moving around some money just to cover ups and downs in the budget. Alan, question?
I have quite a few on this one.
And I don't know if I can answer them, 'cause I didn't look this over real good.
Okay.
I looked at the.
And I might have missed some things, so bear with me, but the increase in revenue, is that due to the reclassification of how the money is taxed?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh,
what he
okay.
just said,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So there's that. The dollar figure for the Director of Public Services, at least in my opinion, I think they're off, because the $5,193, that's a very small
Where you seeing
amount.
that?
That's like for 1 month. Oh, that's on page Exhibit A.
Second page.
Yeah. Under, it's like, it's right here.
Yeah,
There was that, and then unless I missed it, or if it's under something that I'm not seeing,
well,
I
the
think this
benefits
is,
are underneath that too. It brings it down to the 7,000.
it's an increase of what was budgeted, I believe.
Right.
But this position wasn't budgeted.
it wasn't
year.
budgeted,
Yeah.
but it, this amount doesn't even cover, I don't think, a month, if I did the math right.
Yeah, I'm
Which we're-
confused on that
We
too.
should be, like, putting it out till October or November, whenever the fiscal year ends. There was that, and then the health insurance costs that have increased, as far as I can see, they're not in here.
Yep, that was my question as well. And so, yeah, for the park manager and the township manager insurance, where was that coming from and
Right.
increasing in here?
Those,
This is for the second quarter.
Right,
That stuff didn't hit yet, because we're in the third quarter.
so this ended June?
This
Right.
says second quarter
Everything
budget, that would have been
second
June
quarter.
30th.
Okay, so it'll be in our third,
it'd be-
quarter budget
We'll probably do
amendments.
one in the fourth quarter too.
So this is
that-
probably the
That amount for
director,
the director is only.
'Cause
till
it
the end of
started
June.
July.
That's why.
right.
Does that answer your question now?
Mhm.
so the next one will be significant, I guess.
And the insurances are being picked up in the budgets, might not need to be amended. There's enough money left in the items too. We'll figure that out though.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to review any of this at all?
I did, and she was supposed to either meet with me or you according to that staff meeting, but she didn't, so.
Well, that could be my fault. I've been busy as heck last week.
So, then why do we have line items in here for Director of Public Services when
That's a good
he
question.
didn't start until July?
July 1st, right?
Correct.
Right. I don't know.
I think part of, maybe I'm not right, but I thought the purpose of this was to make sure it was balanced, or at least as balanced as possible at the end of the year, which, with this currently, it's not. It's still off.
Well, it goes by the quarters, so there'll be two more.
Right, but why is Director of Public Services in here at all then if it's through the end of June?
Unless we had to prepay for July 1st, because it was done at the, was it June 17th meeting?
I'm trying to
We didn't start until after that, though, I don't think.
Right.
He didn't start his first day of work, but I believe they prepaid the health benefits and, you know, before July 1st, they would have to send the money
pay
in
ahead.
for the three.
But not the salaries and wages, which
Do
that's.
you have the chart of accounts for Director of Public Services? Maybe there was enough in there, she added this much to make it to the end of the year, I don't know. Your chart of accounts, I can tell you that.
But even if it is for the end of the year, which is what I thought, it still doesn't add up.
Right.
No,
Well, I don't know if there's anything in there to begin with, so. 174. You're the treasurer, come on, where's the money at?
the manager never met with me. Yeah, it doesn't have anything in there. It's just over 100% used, but there's zeros.
And that's dated as of today.
As of 7/31. Because, yeah, it shows as of 7/31, we're like 1,100 in the hole.
I don't see anything in here yet. What other questions did you have, or?
There were other increases in salaries that I didn't see in here, which maybe it was after, I don't know, the code enforcer and the clerk. I didn't see those in there either. Unless some of the stuff is kind of generalized, but, and then there's no, I don't know if there is an actual fund balance in here. Again, I might have missed it. Didn't see a fund balance, which usually, I don't know if that's usually in these, but if I recall correctly, I thought there usually is a fund balance.
No, not usually.
No?
It just compares directly to the budget.
Okay.
Just the budget of what was and what's going to be. And the items, categories that are changing.
That was it.
1,099 transfer. Housing fees were up. General fund. Building fund is up for revenues.
Which I didn't know if that was, or the expenditures for that, I don't know if that was, is that the code enforcer, is he in that, or no?
No,
Building is all on its own.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the revenues
his
are
own.
up.
Building department fund.
Okay.
Well,
The top of Exhibit A has the general fund total, if that's what you're looking for, Alan.
Ooh, what's that? Sorry.
Top of Exhibit A right there, general fund, available balance. But I think that's just a picture of where we're at today. Doesn't show fund balance. And that you're looking at, right?
And that amount is what the auditors had
Right.
just spoke about. Reclassification due to audit standards.
This one, that's what should be done right now.
No, I guess it can wait till the next meeting till we have answers.
It's up to you.
Well, it's not up to me. I mean, the manager is one that does in the clerk's
I don't know why
office.
the director would be in the June thing.
I don't know either.
Unless you're preloading it for
And
something.
our
that's what
accountant
I'm
does all this.
preloading, but
I'll make a motion to table this to the next meeting to
Postpone.
postpone.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? New business 6, repairs. You guys get a chance to read the narrative on this? We have
Yep.
to
Yeah.
get moving on this, approve this work to be done to repair the property damage, and then we'll worry about how we're getting the money. It's gonna either come from a settlement or whatever. There's some issues that, our DPW, there's some things that we're, might be a little bit liable to, so we've got to sort that all out, but I do not want to hold up the repair
Right.
The property.
to the property
Correct.
for this.
Yep.
So we need
Yeah.
approval to go ahead and,
I was gonna say,
Approve
I have
this-
a lot of questions on that.
right, we'll approve this number, but we're gonna pay him 30% to get him moving. He wants to get on schedule, which is fine, but we need to approve the whole amount so we can just get this done.
Yep.
And we'll get back to how we're recovering it after that. We've already made contact with them and everything, so.
Yeah. Did we have any bond money from this contractor?
Can't do that.
Can't do
Oh, no. As I told you, this was just something that was kind of weird that was done. Not even a job that was,
that. Supposed to happen?
no, just that was kind of like, hey, Mr. Saber, will you help me out? It's an issue.
Okay.
But my concern here right now is getting the property restored correctly to the homeowners, so that's what we're here to do. And then we will continue with the other stuff. And I'll let you know exactly what happens with that, but. There's a deposit amount, but I also wanted to include the total amount, not to exceed because I did talk to the contractor and, you know, some of the numbers like irrigation repairs are an estimate, you know, it's just, you know, but he
Right.
feels that he's got enough to cover it. So the total amount, $9,933.60 is what we're approving, and we're gonna give a deposit of $29,8008. I'll make that motion just to make it easy.
Support.
Okay, so the total, 9,933.6 is what we're approving. It's on the second page. All right.
So we're approving the total amount,
Right, total amount, just so we
99,360.
can get it paid and get it done
Got it,
when it is done.
okay.
Clerk, please call.
Roll
the
call vote, Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Thank you. Cemetery rates. Ms. Babel, you want to address that a little bit, or you know about
I
the- you
was
guys
not
worked on that,
able-
right?
Well, I was not able to be at the advisory meeting,
Mhm.
which I was a little bit upset about, but, and, yes, the rates continue to always increase every year for any number of things, the cement for the foundations and even the planters that we want to put on there, that's increasing. It's just you know, the way things work lately. Everything goes up.
When's the last time these were adjusted? Do you know that?
I think we're trying to do it every year, like in June,
Mhm.
Yeah.
go through and see what's going up, and I think this is.
Oh, it looks like 2021.
Yes, I know.
I was gonna say, I don't remember us ever doing it, so it's been over 2.5
It's been a
years.
couple,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember doing it, but gosh, time went by fast.
It seems like it was only like a year and a half.
I know.
So, but, yeah.
I did speak with Wendy a little bit about it, and
So did I.
yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, the costs of everything have
Yeah.
gone up.
Yeah, and there's backup here to why it costs so much for the
Mhm.
grave openings and stuff, how long it takes, and that's very
Right.
generous. It sometimes takes longer, you know how that goes.
Yes.
Right. Yes,
Okay.
it always depends on
There's,
what-
oh, in here, Wendy mentioned about offering tier pricing for the columbarium niches.
Yeah.
Top 2 rows, middle 2 rows, bottom row 5. I don't know if that's something we want to
This right here?
engage in. Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, they've always just been one price, wherever they are.
But in that, to look at it another way, everybody that comes and they pay the one price, they want the nicer, higher ones and everything else. And then the lower ones have to pay the same price for the people that are getting the higher price. The higher, you know, the more.
The top ones
Those
are taken
definitely sell
first.
faster, the
Right,
fastest.
Right.
But
It's not a big difference in cost either. I
No,
don't
it's
think
not.
a concern. It just helps us spread it out as far as usage
Yeah.
of who wants
For
what.
preference.
If the money is definitely an
Right.
issue, they can take the bottom one, but. Any other comments, questions?
there's also in here, recommend the board accept, approve site plan as presented by the DPW Sexton, future site of the new columbarium walls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this the thing that we paid for with ARPA funds?
Yes,
We got
There's
2 of
2
them.
units coming.
Yes.
but I don't foresee this happening this year.
Oh, I think they're coming.
Yeah, I think they're.
They're here.
Get it.
They did, they
Well,
gave us a
they're
date.
coming, but we're not prepared for them apparently. And according,
Foundations aren't in.
yeah,
Well, I think he's looking to do this because they say they're ready to ship, didn't they, Deb?
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
so. as
I think
far
they're
as
ready
I
to
know.
ship them.
right, but this was something that kind of fell by the wayside
Probably didn't look at it until now, but
because there's, you know,
Okay, so it looks like
trees that have to be removed
they're
and,
looking to
Yeah.
come out at the ends of the other 2.
Mhm. And the ground has to settle. I think she said they're like 80,000 pounds or something for the crane.
well, that's
Yeah.
not a big, well, for the crane is one thing, but the foundations are attached. It's not a big deal.
Well, they have to
But
be
he wants to
poured
move
yet.
some of these shrubs and stuff.
Yeah, they have to be.
I will say this, I visited the cemetery multiple times this summer. the front of that building and those columbarium areas are beautiful. So if we have volunteers that are doing that, I know we used to have a couple that would come and plant and weed, and it's beautiful in
I
there.
don't know if they are, I know Steve's doing a great job over there,
He
that's for
is.
sure.
But it's, really looks nice.
Yeah. And I
Where
think-
were they originally gonna put them? They not add to,
I thought they were gonna put them maybe a little bit separate, you know, like try to make a diamond shape maybe more. This is the first time I'm really, you know, I looked at it earlier, but, if they think that it's better that way, and then maybe they can make a little, you know, seating area in the middle and do
Yeah,
that kind of
put some
thing.
benches or something.
Yeah.
Because I think the flagpole has to be moved too.
I see that the flagpole gets moved, but I don't see
Yeah.
why the rest of that's gotta get moved. They're just going out this way towards the flagpole, right?
I think it had to do
Is
with
this something the
bringing the
cemetery
crane
commission looked
in or
at, the placement
something.
of it, or not?
What's that?
Did you guys look at this at the commission?
I was not here at the meeting, last week. But I can get together with them and kind of see what's going on.
I hate to see that nice pear tree gone and
I
all that other
know.
landscape, and you just talk about how beautiful it was, it's all gonna be torn out.
Right.
Yeah.
Really nice. Right, is there an alternate plan maybe that we could
Yeah.
work around the existing?
Well, that's what, did the cemetery group even look at this at all, or is this
Yeah.
something that was just come up with by him?
I don't know.
And
I
I would
think-
hope the committee would have some input on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it just said as presented by Sexton, so DPW superintendent. So I think she just got that from him.
I just got it Friday.
So really, we have 3 different motions here to vote on.
Right.
Right. Yep, yeah. What are your wishes?
I would suggest we go to the, raising the rates, do that one, and the, plant stands, and maybe, postpone,
2 items.
Yeah, 2.
Plan?
Yeah,
So your motions to approve
Okay.
1 and 3?
yes.
What about the tier pricing for the columbarium? Is that part of,
Oh, I don't know.
that's not on the sheet, the
What
rate
is
sheet?
It's here though.
I
Um,
wanna,
It's on the add-on sheet.
It's in here.
What's the plant stand thing? I didn't see that.
It actually costs us $45 to get plant stands for the sites, and, then they have to powder coat them and then paint them, which is another $25 or so. But if we leave it all to the people that order them, they can do them all, and we won't have to bother DPW or anybody else to have to do that.
right,
So raise the price to $65
Okay.
instead of paying our people their wages to do them, and,
Right.
which would be.
That'd be even more.
Yes,
right,
so,
This is the columbarium.
right. So
You do
my
have it.
question is, are we doing that?
Well, that's under 1, so yes,
Yeah.
everything under 1 is what you're talking about, right, Deb?
okay, yep.
Okay,
So the motion is for the board to approve the fee schedule as amended for burials, its opening, closing, residents and non-resident rates, the columbarium tiered pricing, and columbarium bronze niche plaques, maintenance fees, and footings and foundations. And item number 3 is the increase of flower stands from 45 to 65. It's to cover the cost of having the stands primed and painted. That is the motion, correct?
Yes.
Is there support to that?
Support.
Sorry. Comments, questions? We need a roll call on that?
yep.
A roll call vote then.
Roll call vote. Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
No.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Someone want to make a motion to postpone number 2 to the next meeting?
So moved.
So,
Support?
support.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? I'll leave it to Deb to get a hold of Lane and
Mhm.
take a look at
Yep.
it. I don't necessarily think it needs a meeting or whatever, just make sure you guys are happy with it.
Right.
You know, I can come over and look if you'd
Yeah,
like to.
I'll
Sandy,
get with
if
the
you want
other
to, but
committee members and
Good.
see what their thoughts
Yeah.
are on it.
we'll try to get it to the next meeting though,
Yeah.
because I know they need to get this done quickly if we're gonna get it done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right,
Okay.
new business 8. Again, I am fairly certain that this was approved a long time ago, but I'm bringing it to you again. This is stuff that I reviewed a long time ago, and we cut this down quite a bit. The main item is we couldn't bore and jack underneath the road where it was at, down by Hills, whatever that is down there. Is it still Hills Garage or whatever that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it got moved, got lengthened, it had to get all rearranged. That whole thing, we did numerous examples of what we wanted to do and then got covered it, it was still completely different. So there was a lot of changes
Yeah.
involved with that. But this is a number that was significantly more, and I negotiated this down. So we just need a, I think it's been approved, we can't find the proof, I want to make sure it is. So we need a change order for TRP in the amount of $37,040.32. I make a motion to approve that as presented.
Support.
And, any comments, questions on this one? There's more coming, because the project's pretty much wrapping up to doing the punch list items. And
Yeah.
we're gonna sit down and have to settle the rest of it, so that's gonna take a little time, but I hope we
Right.
get it done soon. Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call, Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrich?
Yes. Thank you. Announcements. You guys have this letter from our resident requesting, we relook at a credit, for the water. It was reviewed by our supervisor, DPW supervisor, can't determine where the water went, so I just want to pass it along, that we received this, if someone has something they want to do, great, if
Did he actually physically go out there?
he did.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something after the fact, we don't know that the hose where it was placed. So that was, because I asked him about the basis of that, and, yeah, he thinks that's true, but he doesn't know, we can't tell for sure.
And even the amount of units, you can't know that either unless you did a read right before and after.
Right, and that was, yeah, you could total it as of what normal has been for that residence, and that's how that came to that number, I
Yeah.
believe, but you don't know exactly where it went. So it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I'm passing along and sent this to the board.
It's unfortunate that it couldn't be verified,
Right.
Yeah.
because I know it did happen that way,
Yeah,
but
But
we have
those
to,
things happen.
we have to stay with the way we determine it,
right, exactly. We just
uniform.
Make sure you receive that letter. All right? Anything else? Deb?
Just thank you for taking care of the corner there on Meisner and
Oh, yeah.
River
I
Road.
noticed it was cut.
Yeah, that was cut the other day, so I noticed that. So that's about it.
Ms. Smith, I believe you have some information. Add
I
to the
do. Under
Parks
member
manager.
comments,
Issues.
I just want to follow up on some, for the minutes, so it'll be in the record, about on June 17th, we approved the health insurance. The board voted to provide qualified employees with health insurance coverage. To qualify for coverage, an employee must work an average of 30 or more hours per week. If the employee performed an average of at least 30 hours of service per week during the prior calendar year, then they will be eligible for coverage for the subsequent calendar year. If during a calendar year you do not average at least 30 hours of service per week, then you will not be eligible for health insurance for the following calendar year. Hours worked will be reviewed annually by administration, so it will be reviewed and determined if they qualified to receive the health benefits for the following year, based on the hours of service. As far as the retention bonus, there was a question about that, about the park manager retention bonus that was based on years of service, having worked a minimum of 1,248 hours in the previous calendar year. This item will be a board-voted item annually before it is paid to the employee in January. So it's not something that's going to automatically happen. If we decide that was a one-time thing, or if that's like a little perk we want to provide, since there's no paid vacation, holiday, that kind of thing. That will come before the board as an individual item, action item, before that happens, if it's to happen. As far as the job description for the park manager, it doesn't change. The job description doesn't change at all. These other items are separate items
In the personnel file.
in the personnel file. So I just want to clarify that, so we have it in the minutes, because there were some questions, and,
Okay,
okay,
thank you.
certainly.
I only have one that's kind of a question, or I don't know if we need to do it, but we're gonna be doing the rate committee again. We talked about that a little bit. And I have the people that we did last year as the rate committee again. I don't know if I have to approve that every year or not, or we just continue with that, but
I'm sorry, what?
the rate committee, do we need to?
We should.
All right, I think it's myself, Nicole, and Ralph. And then we have our township manager Cindy, DPW supervisor, the water plant supervisor, and the sewer plant supervisor. And Mr. Jim Light is the resident at large, and I haven't got an answer back from him yet, but I believe he was on it. And then we did have Anthony from PC, but I put John Monty there instead, just to have them there. I think that was it, wasn't it?
We had somebody from Waterworth, is that?
Oh, yeah, but he's kind of more the advisor. He's-
Okay.
Yeah, he leads the discussion. I
Okay.
don't think that's part of it, but I think that's what we have as a rate committee. Does that sound
Yeah.
right? So I'm gonna appoint the same rating committee again unless anyone has problems with that.
It's fine.
Okay, so I'll make that appointment. We did appoint the planning commission people. You saw on the consent, we have one that hasn't responded, and we don't know if she's going to re up for that, so we're gonna find out, we might have a vacancy there.
Okay.
Mr. Blackstock did tell me, I think he sent you the email as well, or talked to you about it. He will still like to serve on the planning commission and ZBA. He didn't run for trustee though, so I think that's great. Some experience there to help us out. But that's not till November. Okay.
Right. Well, those get appointed in the next year, right?
Those, as they come up, yeah, we did
Yeah.
some tonight because they were up.
Yeah.
But his is November, I believe, so.
We normally appoint
In
members to
January.
boards with a motion.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm seeing this as a consent item,
Mhm.
so I'm not quite sure if
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
I'm not feeling real good about the consent item. I think that should maybe be on the next agenda as a new business item,
Yeah.
because they have
Yeah.
to take a oath
An
of
oath
office
and
for each
everything.
term they serve. It's like a whole separate.
Right.
Okay,
So I'll put that on this comments too.
we can't correct that now then, can we?
We can. Well,
I don't think we can do anything with it now, can we, Cindy? Can we amend it?
Well, we're still in,
Still in
We're still in
session.
session, absolutely.
We
So
are.
I don't know the rules. Alan, do you know, can we do that?
We could make a motion to do it.
Is that what your motion is?
Yep, I'll make a motion to reappoint Wally Street and who was the other one?
Larry Nichols.
I'm Larry Nichols to the planning commission for another term.
Okay, for the 3-year term ending 8/19/2027.
So we're moving C6 to new business 9.
We're gonna add it, we're gonna modify it to new business 9.
Yep,
Turn it into that.
for planning
Is there
commission.
support to that?
I'll support.
Okay, moved by Mr. Richley, supported by clerk, and all those in favor say aye.
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 So there, handle that.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I think Herb said the sales was up in November, so if we hear from the other person, I know they haven't attended the last few meetings, so that was something that Herb wasn't sure about, but we may be looking for someone to fill that. Nicole?
The only question I had was, I thought there was a stop work order on the, what are those, storage units over here, but I see work's still going? Did that get resolved?
Don't know. That's building inspector that was dealing with that, and
Yeah.
it was up to him to find out if that was true, what he had to do or not, so that's something that he would know. If it became an issue, it would come to us,
Okay.
but he might be getting it. Most times he gets it changed out in the field, they'll take care of it.
Right.
They'll get him what he's looking for.
But I thought he needed
Well, it was
to go back
changed.
to the planning commission or something.
He may not, they may not, you just have to have an updated plan though. So
Okay.
he'll determine, as a building official, he'll figure that out. Anything else?
No.
Mr. Ritchie?
on the job description, is that something, in my opinion at least, I think we should bring it back to the board. Because there are things that changed in it, because it says there's no benefits and all that kind of stuff. I think it should.
Actually, it won't change at all. It's gonna stay the way it is.
But it says she's part-time, and it says that it says the position is part-time, and it says the position has no benefits. I don't have it in front of me.
It lists exactly what was there.
Part-time seasonal, I think
It
it's.
doesn't say seasonal, it says hours are seasonal. As far as what hours she works, but,
Part-time hourly, position type,
yeah. Like benefits, it just lists that one.
may qualify for
It may
retention
qualify for
bonus
retention
based on your
bonus. They'd
service.
have to come to here.
That gives us the option.
Is that a new one that was typed up, or the one in from January?
I just,
No,
The original one from January.
I just think that it should come back before the board to just be done with it.
It was approved by the board in January.
Yeah, but that was before,
We haven't changed anything on it.
I personally don't agree with that.
What
I mean,
what do
want
you
to see
suggest should
changed?
be amended?
I mean, just the fact that it's now considered full-time, I guess.
No. It's still good.
30 hours, part-time.
We've
But-
never changed that from the beginning.
But
and it hasn't
according
changed.
to that contract we signed, 30 hours is full-time.
No, it's not. 30 hours is what qualifies her for insurance through the union. That's the only
Which
thing.
is what they
changed.
consider full-time.
What they consider full-time and what we consider full-time can still be different.
That's how they define it.
Right.
The plan administrator defines.
But in our ordinance, it says that full-time is considered, I believe it's 37, if I remember, it's like 37.5 or something for one set of employees, and then everybody else, that's 40 hours. I think there needs to be like a redrawing of that, just to make it,
You're talking about the ordinance
well,
from,
the ordinance and the
The ordinance for sure needs to be modified.
right. This will stay the same because it says up to 35 hours in the summer, is that right? I can't read it, but.
Yep, non-traditional, days, evenings, weekends as needed, seasonal hours, April through October, 30 to 35 hours per week, off-season hours, November through March 15th, 15 to 20 hours per week.
Now, I think you have a different one. Does yours say adopted 1/15 of 2024?
No,
Okay, that's a different one, because this says retention bonus paid upon years of service, details attached, and that's what I was questioning. And
date?
it also says gave to Deanna for signature. Cindy initialed it on 1/16, but then she said it never got signed, so
Right.
that's another question.
I remember, as I told you, it was a one-time thing, but.
I know, but it's
It was-
listed differently. I thought it
It's
was one
listed
time
as,
thing.
the job will qualify for that, whether we decide to give it or not is another thing. No money can be spent without us saying so. So that's why it
Yeah.
was left in there.
The annual bonus will be determined upon the length of service, so annual, unless it's fixed to change reflective, and never got an answer as to whether it was signed or not signed, but she said it was, those are her initials, so. I think you have an older one there.
well, that's why I had it in the minutes today, because I
Yeah.
clarified it.
But if you're clarifying the old one, this is the one
Well,
that she gave
I'm
me.
clarifying the fact that it's gonna come before the board each time. It's not an automatic benefit. It's not an automatic thing.
But according to this, it was changed.
Which one? The job description?
It says adopted 1/15.
We'll check into that.
I just think it should come back to the board.
That's why
vote on
I keep
it,
asking about
let
it, because it's,
And then at that point, it's done.
this is what Cindy had given me
Well,
before.
send your recommendation that you feel the wording should be, and then
Oh,
we
I already
can,
have, so,
well,
Well, no, you've said that something should be in there. Tell us what you want to read like if you're saying that. But
No, I
let's
just
check
said-
on what's adopted too.
no, I just said if it was signed, then that's another issue. This has to be changed where it doesn't say the annual bonus. If it wasn't signed, I don't know, she hasn't said if it was or wasn't, then I guess it's a non-issue if it wasn't signed, because this was saying she
Well, it
agreed.
still should be clarified for that position.
Yeah, but this was added on after. And then, of course, this was in here too. Retention bonus based upon years of service, details attached.
It doesn't seem.
So I think you have an older one.
It's posted
Okay,
on the
the
website,
original.
isn't it? In minutes?
I'm not sure if that one is.
Where'd you find it?
Cindy gave it to me.
You
It's
gotta
it's
find
on the
it.
shared drive.
You should have one that we adopted at
In
the meeting.
January?
Right,
Yeah,
the one that's
I-
attached to that agenda is the one that was
Mhm.
approved.
Yeah,
yeah.
We'll look for that then.
and these were her. That's
All right.
her. I'll give you a copy of this one.
Well, let's just look in the minutes. You can look in the minutes from them. It should be in there.
Well, the job description won't be in the minutes.
But it was when we approved it.
Mhm.
Well, it'll be in the agenda packet.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It just needs to be clarified.
okay.
Anything
Couple more
else?
things. Sorry.
You get two.
So here's what I would say,
Okay,
make your
okay.
recommendation, send it, and I will get it to
Well, you,
manager or you.
you already have mine. I've given it to you guys. Recommendation, just to clarify it.
For the
one way or-
wording.
One way or the other, yeah.
On the retention. Okay.
I would say if it's a one-time thing, then it's a one-time thing. Because she's already getting insurance now too, so.
Okay.
Okay, and then, the water and sewer line updates, like, I talked to somebody today, they said that they sprayed for weeds and stuff. When is it?
What are we
when-
talking about?
The, like on, I think it was somebody on Walnut,
Oh,
the guy that
okay.
emailed us.
Right, the
Um,
restoration.
Yeah, and so is it, when is it going to be done exactly? Because he,
Glenn gave me a date of within 30 days last week.
okay, okay,
I'm hoping a little sooner.
okay,
I know that when you seed, it usually needs to be after Labor Day because of the weather. You know, it'll start not having those hot days.
okay.
So,
Like, once it,
but I requested that everything get done, even the topsoil, and you can come back and seed it when the weather starts cooperating a little bit more.
Right.
So that's what they're concentrating on.
they said it was promising that there was movement, but, like, on the work and stuff like that, but is there, before the completion of it, are we gonna have somebody kind of run through?
Oh, it will get walked. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
they made a list of everything on the whole project.
Okay,
It didn't move as quick as I wanted, but
Right.
last week they gave it to the contractor,
okay,
so.
okay. The township picnic is September 14th. Do we need volunteers for that?
Pretty much just if you show up, I mean, everything, we have a caterer, we have music, we have a bounce house for the kids. So it's pretty much just setting up, he'll bring the food in, set it up.
That's September 14th.
And then I
Everyone-
talked with Deanna today, so we will have park staff there if we need to move anything. But, yeah,
What
Okay.
time?
pretty simple. 11 o'clock we start, eat at 12.
Okay.
All right.
And, so, I think it was a few meetings ago now, the attorney fees showed up in the bills,
Yep.
and it was from April or something like that.
Mhm.
So obviously things are kind of slow with that. I was wondering
Right.
when to expect like some of the attorney fees for like the closed session and all that
Like,
kind of
oh,
stuff.
they put the bills in and they get paid how, I don't know,
Yeah,
It depends on them.
It shouldn't
30
be.
days usually.
Yeah.
Something that'll show up.
Okay.
At least 30, yeah.
Okay.
They should
Most,
charge
and I
me right
looked into
away.
that too, most of that is all these ordinance changes we're doing, we're paying Alan Francis to do.
Okay.
So we have more coming.
Okay.
We got a bunch more we just talked about, what Dwayne's dealing with now.
Yeah, I know we contacted the lawyer about the new positions and
That
things
was
like that,
Ryan.
yeah. Yeah,
But, yeah, basically, there's, most of that's ordinance changes that we've been dealing with.
Okay. All right. I think that's it from me.
Anybody else overall? If not, I entertain.
oh, I'm sorry, do you have one more? I'm sorry.
It's too late.
What is the status on the, township manager, I guess, evaluation, yearly
I
evaluation?
was gonna talk to you after the meeting.
Alan said he was gonna look into this, coming up with some ideas for that, so,
Okay,
all right?
all right.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support?
Been moved and supported, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned, thank you.